Good morning. Hello. Good morning, Kathy. How are you? I hope you're doing well today. Good morning, Facebook and YouTube. We are getting into our Wednesday with Oshun. So let's just go ahead and begin. We're calling out to Oshun with one of her sacred prayers. This is in English. I don't know the original Yoruba, but someday I will find it and learn. I bow to Oshun. There's nowhere that it is not known that Oshun is as mighty as a king. She dances and takes the crown. She dances without asking. She arrives and trouble is appeased. She shakes her bracelets to come to the dance. She dances in the depths of richness. The water sounds like the bracelets of Oshun. We call to her, and she answers with wisdom. She can heal what the doctor can't. The Orisha, who heals with cool water. We can stay in the world without fear. Grand Rising, Enlin Simo. I don't know how to say your name because it's um, and I'm not sure what your name is, but it's nice to see you. I think those are maybe some initials, I'm not sure, but if you tell me how to say it, I'll definitely say it. And good morning, Josephine. All right, so yesterday it was like get down into the weeds and do the work, and I took apart a whole bunch of papers that I've been finding intimidating and got into them and took care of them. That was one step. Um, I also got through the rest of the laundry that had built up from when the pipes were out. I had kind of a stack of blankets and things that I had put during that time, and I was sort of like, then we got busy with everything leading up to the camping trip, and of course, the constant other laundry that needs to get done in the house. So I got through that all but one. So I got myself down into the murk yesterday, down into the things that were really, really bothering me, and did a little deep cleanse. And our card today is Allah, grief. Allah. It's number 28. So this is from the Igbo people of Nigeria. Allah, the goddess of grief. She is the foremost Igbo Alusi deity. Allah oversees motherhood, fertility, and the afterlife. After death, humans return to the womb of Allah, replanted in the soil to reincarnate. Give spirit your grief. Bawl it out, wail it out, cry it out, sob, shriek, shed tears, and surrender it. You are holding on to unprocessed grief. You might want to skip over it and get back to normal, but grief doesn't go away just because you ignore it. The only way to healing is to walk through it. Losing a loved one is the ultimate heartbreak, but we can also experience grief after breakups, job losses, or disappointments. Self love and self care are required. Ask for support and be gentle with yourself. Processing grief today with Allah of the Igbo tribe of Nigeria. And it shows her sitting on what looks like a mountaintop covered with a green cloak. Beneath her There seems to be a world serpent and the starry skies all around with plants and growing things. She's pregnant. She's adorned with a headdress, earrings, bracelets, and ankle bangles. And her expression is serene. When we encounter grief, sometimes we go into um, fight or flight mode. Sometimes we go into coping mode. And that grief then gets subsumed by whatever else we have to do. And I feel like this divination is really powerful because today in our practice, we're holding space for a woman who is going to court today against a predator in her life. And she's been away from this predator for a decade, and he has still pursued her, hunted her, haunted her, stalked her, and caused difficulty in her life. And every time she thinks it's over, he pops up again. That can cause a terrible triggering and re-triggering of deep, deep trauma. Just think about it. If you've been in an abusive situation, in a setting where you were always on edge or nervous because of someone's volatility or their cruelty or their instability, and then after years of that, you finally leave and try to get away, and that person who is so addicted to hurting you feels that they need to come after you. I have definitely been through my own version of that, and it is terrifying when it happens. It leaves you feeling despondent, like you'll never be able to be free. It leaves you feeling like you will not ever have people who believe you when you try to explain the absolutely insane level of stalking that you're going through. Because most people in the world aren't like that. Most people who we're close to haven't experienced that kind of predatory activity. And it can be so difficult to process it alone. And it's even more lonely making when you try to process it with others and they just don't understand, or because of their own discomfort with the depth of intensity of the subject matter, they try to offer platitudes. Casual insensitivity is more isolating in a way than deliberate cruelty. Because deliberate cruelty, at least you know what you're dealing with. You're dealing with somebody who actively wants to hurt you. So you can kind of r- put up defenses against it. But the casual insensitivity of somebody who, like, for example, allows you to tell them about what's gone on in your life or about something that's happened, and then says something to you like, oh, you've got this, you're strong, or, well, maybe they didn't mean it that way, or, well, I just felt like I didn't want to get involved. That is more isolating than the deliberate cruelty, I would argue. It takes more away from you. It takes more away from your dignity. It takes more away from your sense of safety to know that it's not it's not only that there are actively people who want to hurt you, but also that there are people who don't care enough to defend you. And this woman who we are chanting for today has been through something like that, where she is anxious to even talk about it. When she and I talked about it, good morning, Gary. Hello, Elizabeth. Hello, Adriana. Um, when this woman and I talked about what had happened to her, she immediately started with the phrasing that I recognize both from myself and from so many women, hundreds of women that I've read for and talked to over the years. I know this is going to sound crazy, but let's unpack that for a minute. I know this is going to sound crazy, but means A, the cultural stigma that if a woman feels unsafe, she must be crazy, or there must be something wrong with her if something bad has happened to her. B, the fact that she has already tried to talk to people about what is happening to her, and they have already been casually insensitive to her, or potentially even acted like she was making it up. Three, that there's a part of her that is judging herself for feeling like she didn't do something that she was supposed to do to protect herself from a predator when she didn't even know that this person was a predator. She didn't actually know what was going to happen. All of these layers are evident in that. I know this sounds crazy, but if there is someone in your life who chooses to open their heart and share with you about something that has happened that, especially in this case, is verifiable, there's documentation, there's years worth of predation here. If somebody feels like they can tell you that, take it upon deeply listen to honor and acknowledge, like, oh, I'm acknowledging your feelings. You know, I see a lot of times in our civilization, what will happen is if someone has been stalked or has been through a tremendous loss because of someone else's doing, like in this case, this man is using the court system to harass this woman after she already got a restraining order against him. So if somebody takes their time to share with you, this is like a big deal. Listen to them. Be open to what they have to say. Ask how you can help. You can say, I can't imagine how hard that must be. I've never been through that. Or I've never had that happen to me. So I'm really out of my depth and I really want to help. What do you need? How can I help? What can I do? And that person then might be able to share with you. But the fact is, by the time that person has shared with you what's going on, so much has already happened that there is deep trauma there. And your responsibility is to not wound them further. So today, let's call upon Allah and ask her to please help us to have the appropriate response to grief, to have the appropriate response to someone else's suffering, so that we don't casually write it off, so that we don't just cut them off at the knees, so that we don't leave them feeling like maybe they're crazy for having told us. And instead, let's hold space when somebody needs to share something that is so deeply wounding that it's actually altered their ability to feel trust in the world. And Priestess Rising says, molested by a judo teacher for 2 years as a child and holding space for others is deeply moving and healing for me. So much love. And Adriana says, this is really helpful to hear. It is so isolating. Well, I'm glad that, there's some resonance that, we can kind of dig into this card a little bit today and really feel our way along with it. And I'm so sorry for anything that's been like this for you, anyone who's been through abuse or who's been gaslit or who's been lied on or lied about or predated upon. I'm really sorry that it's happened. And while our stories might be very different, I also have my story. And each of us has to learn to live with the story. It's like a scar. It doesn't really go away. You can put all the vitamin K on it that you want, all the vitamin E cream, in the world, all the jojoba oil, but it doesn't, the scar doesn't fully go away. And when you are carrying that scar, you still have to find a way to live in this world and enjoy your life and have beauty and have, happiness and connection and find trust with people who you care about. So, I know that it's not easy and that each of us goes through these hard times in our own ways. Today, let's just make the commitment that we're going to hold space, whether it's for our grieving or the grieving of others, our scars or the scars of others. And at the same time, we will try to nurture happiness. And sometimes, especially if you don't have a similar story as someone else, um, the best thing you can do for them is to say, like, I don't even know what to say here. It's so difficult what you've been through. How can I serve your joy? How can I serve you feeling happy and uplifted in this moment? What could I do? From there, the person will tell you, or they'll say, I don't know. And then you can still try to figure it out. You can still try to bring them a little something or do a little something that will help. So that's where we're at today with Allah of the Igbo tribe of Nigeria. And so grateful for this African Goddess Rising Oracle introducing us to the beings of the origin of humanity, who have tended over humanity in all of our wounding and all of our brilliance for thousands of years. So now let's dive into practice. We're going to start with 3 prostrations before the shrine. And let's take refuge in the Dharma where we are always fundamentally safe. Namo Guru Be. I take refuge in the inner teacher. Namo Buddhaye. I take refuge in the great mother of compassion. Namo Dharmaye. I take refuge in the wisdom of the ages. Namo Sanghaye. I take refuge in the community of practitioners. And today, setting our intention for this bold, brave sister who is in court today, defending herself against a predator who has stalked her and her family for a decade after already causing significant damage prior to that. May she prevail. And let's recite the four immeasurables. May I be a source of loving kindness in this world and all worlds, bringing a generous heart to all my thoughts and doings. May I be a vehicle of compassion in this world and all worlds, ever mindful and aware of the tremendous suffering of others. May I be a brimming vessel of joy in this world and all worlds, delighting in the happiness of others as their suffering is alleviated. May I be a balance point of equanimity in this world and all worlds, seeing all as equals and all as deserving of goodness. I light this candle as a symbol of the enlightening Dharma way. May it shine brightly for the benefit of all beings. I light this incense as an offering to Guan Yin, she who hears the cries of the world, mother of all. Om Ahum. 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 Reverently, I prostrate with my body, speech, and mind and present clouds of every type of offering, actual and virtual. I confess all my destructive actions accumulated since beginningless time and rejoice in the meditation of all holy and ordinary beings. Please, Guan Yin, remain until the end of samsaric existence and turn the wheel of Dharma for sentient beings. I dedicate my own merits and those of others to the great enlightenment. I think it's really interesting that this card came up today, not only because of our dedicating our practice to this sister who's going through this hard time, but also because this week I was forced to communicate with somebody who you just not forced, but it was necessary that I communicate with somebody who I've really been avoiding because this person one time said to me that until that when we were in a conversation about some PTSD that I have, I she actually said to me, "Well, you're just going to like hang on to that for as long as you feel like you need it." This is someone who calls herself a shamanic counselor. Okay. I think I prefer the compassion way. Thank you. So let's do that. Let's take the compassion way. What does it mean to hold space for pain? To truly hold space for it without feeling the need to become some kind of savior or rescuer, without becoming frustrated or bored of it, without becoming insensitive and casual around it. Just allowing the pain to be what it is for as long as it is until nature provides the healing that is possible, and even holding space for the pain that's left after that has happened. Namo Guan Yin Pusa, Namo Guan Yin Pusa, Namo Guanxin 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 Pusa. Namo Guanxin Pusa, 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 Namo Guanxin Pusa. Namo Guanxin Pusa, 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 Namo Guanxin Pusa. Namo Guanxin Pusa, 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 Namo Guanxi Yin Pusa. 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 And our prayer for Yeshet Sogyal. Ying Chutaki Somo Karchanza Dusum Kunchen Pema Jungyeki Sangso Dupo Dechen Sogyal Mar Sowa Dipso Chuktun Nudrup So. Mother of Space, foremost of Dakinis, Lady Karchanza, gatherer of the vast secret treasury of Padmakara, knower of all past, present, and future. Mother Tsogyal, great bliss queen, to you we pray, grant us cities, ordinary and supreme. Ying Chuktaki Somo Karchanza Dusum Kunchen Pema Jungyeki Sangso Dupo Dechen Sogyalmar Sowa Debso Chuktun Nudrup So. And now sending out our energies to our sister in court today. Om Mani Padme Hum, 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 Om Mani Padme Hum. Om Mani Padme Hum, 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 Om Mani Padme Hum. Om Mani Padme Hum, 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 Om Mani Padme Hum. Om Mani Padme Hum, 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 Om Mani Padme Hum. 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 And let's give thanks for our teachers. May all of my blessed teachers enjoy long, happy, healthy, productive lives and great support for their good works. May all beings benefit from their wisdom. May they enjoy a swift and happy rebirth. And long life prayer for Lamadechin Yeshiwangmo. Om Sosti. Through the powerful blessings of the immortal Pema Junye and his consort, may the three secret qualities of the Dakini of Supreme Bliss Yeshiwangmo be utterly stable, and may the light of her activities shine on the lotus groves of the teachings and of beings, so that they blossom in radiant splendor. And let's dedicate the merit. May the merit of this practice and all of my activities be of endless benefit to all beings in all realms, beginningless and continuous. May all obstacles be overcome and suffering cease at the sound of liberation. May all beings be free from suffering and its causes. May all beings have happiness and its causes. May we carry the essence of Guanyin in our hearts. Namo Guanxin Pusa. And we close with a bow to Guanyin, bow to one another, and a bow to the inner teacher. And wishing you a wonderful day, a really, really blessed day, and hoping that today you either can hold space for who needs it, or if you need it, someone will hold space for you. Be back tomorrow. Bye.